Welcome back to another episode of Big Brain Time. Today's episode is all about mental health. First, we're going to talk about how makeup can help improve mental health. And second, we're going to do a deep dive into how psychedelic drugs, which are controlled substances that the government does not want you to have, can help people with PTSD and depression. Perks of being a researcher. You can get all sorts of drugs. Okay, that's not how research actually works. Please don't sue me. I'm just a college student. I need the money. Don't sue me, please. Stick around till the end. You're going to want to hear the rest of this video. Let's get started. As we've all noticed, COVID-19 has tremendously affected teens. All the way from ruining prom to stopping them from secretly vaping in the bathrooms. Because if we know anything about teens, is that they all secretly vape in the bathrooms, they all draw penises on the walls, and playing Brawl Stars on their phones. Was that a little too specific? Don't mention the bar? Oh. And amidst all this stress and depression, a unique way to deal with it has emerged, and it's a completely normal thing that a lot of people do. Applying makeup. I look so pretty right now, don't I? A study done back in 2017 by the Polaris Teen Center found that wearing makeup was considered a common form of therapy for most teens. This study was based on a different study that said that 32% of women said that they wear makeup for psychological reasons. 32% doesn't seem like a lot, but it's 1/3 of any population. 1/3! That's a lot of people! Now you may be wondering, why makeup to feel better? Why didn't these women go socializing with each other or complain about how much they hate men or something like that? And that last part is completely valid because, of the idiot gene present on the Y chromosome. It's just straight bio. And I don't need to tell you all this, but ever since COVID, everyone's been stuck inside with no real interaction with people. In Polaris' study, they named the following as events that cause anxiety: death of a loved one, trouble with school or work, and not knowing what other people may think of them. And do you know what COVID's caused? Death of a loved one, trouble with school or work, and not knowing what people think of them. So applying makeup helps those who feel like they don't have any control in their lives gain some back. And listen, that's totally legit. If it works for you, it works for you. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go be beautiful over there. Let's move on to talking about PTSD and depression. PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder, and it causes people to have flashbacks to terrifying events, and it causes people to have high anxiety levels. And depression is the thing your immigrant parents treat by saying, get over it, and it's fake, and you'll never have any friends, and you'll fail. And before you know it, you have a 2.9 GPA studying computer science and working your ass off studying machine learning. And throughout this pandemic, PTSD and depression has been affecting those that are considered essential in our society. You heard that right. Essential workers like nurses and doctors are going through severe mental health issues because of this pandemic. And according to Express Scripts, anti-anxiety pill purchases increased by 34%, and antidepressant pill purchases increased by a whole 18%. And what's even more concerning is that 1 in 3 patients don't feel any impact from those antidepressants, which causes them to ask for more, which they don't feel any impact from, which causes them to ask for more, from which they don't feel any impact from, which causes them to ask for more, from which they don't feel any impact from, which causes them to ask for more, which they don't feel any impact. I think I'm stuck in a time loop. Luckily, there's a solution that could help the 13 million people in the United States and many around the world that depend on antidepressants. And it's gonna surprise the hell out of you. Psychedelics. Shrooms, LSD, the whole bit. Psychedelics are a class of drugs that produce changes in your consciousness, like hallucinations and stuff like that. Examples include LSD, DMT, psilocybin, which is the active chemical in shrooms, and ecstasy. They're basically drugs that you take to make you feel like you're in kindergarten again, and that they make you wet yourself, they make you irrationally fear bugs for whatever reason, and for some reason, you just see Kermit the Frog around you, everywhere. Oh my god, dude, why? Jesus Christ. In all seriousness though, A lot of these drugs I mentioned are classified as Schedule I drugs by the US Department of Justice. This means that these drugs are not permitted for medical use and have a high ability to be abused. For instance, people can be hospitalized and can even take their own lives when they're under the influence of these drugs. And I know it sounds a little scary that researchers are using these drugs for their research, but let's look into it a little bit more. Researchers have actually been looking into using psychedelics for treating depression since the 1970s. But Nixon and his scandalous ass decided to screw all that when he created the Controlled Substances Schedule classifications. And that made it really difficult to get access to these drugs to be able to use them in medical treatment. Schedule I drugs, like I previously said, are not allowed for any medical use. But now, the turntables. Wait, that doesn't make sense.
Well, well, well. How the turntables...
In some UK clinical trials, DMT is currently being used to treat depression. Also, a study last year from Johns Hopkins University showed that when patients with major depression receive psilocybin in small amounts, they produce rapid and large reductions in depressive symptoms. LSD is also being used to treat PTSD in some Israeli patients. So, wait, how are these researchers even getting away with using these type of drugs for treating PTSD and depression? They all do it by delivering very small doses super infrequently and then following that up with very supportive psychoactive therapy. And so far, not gonna lie, it seems to be going pretty well. It's not a secret that psychedelic drugs are dangerous. You know, some can build addictions and some can build tolerance in other people. But if given in small and appropriate doses with therapy, they're proving to be an effective way to treat certain mental health conditions. And although it's difficult to predict exactly how much money is being saved from this research, studies have shown that making this available to even 1,000 patients could save as much as, say, $100 million in healthcare costs. Do you know what you could buy instead with the $100 million? You can get an Airbus A320 Neo. Not that I know what that is. You can get 28 commercial wind turbines. Who doesn't want that many wind turbines? Or, wait, hold on. You could get 5,102,040 bottles of Prozac, which is a brand name antidepressant. What? That's not the point of this video? Oh! Whoops. Alright, let's go over a little bit of what we learned today. First, pandemic has caused stress for literally everyone, and so teens have found an awesome way to stay sane by applying makeup. And second, many essential workers are struggling from PTSD and depression, and at the same time, antidepressant and anti-anxiety drugs are starting to have less of an effect on people. Scientists are thus looking to psychedelic drugs for treatments, and they seem to be working. Although the drugs are dangerous in high amounts, they are appearing to be perfectly safe if they're prescribed in small doses, infrequently, and then you have supportive psychoactive therapy right afterwards. And that last step is absolutely necessary because the last thing you need is to be walking around with Kermit the Frog just yelling at you.
I told you, you're supposed to end the episode with a joke.
That was a joke. I brought you up, didn't I?
That was mean.
Kermit, no I didn't. Kermit. Oh my god, okay. Sorry, right now I have to deal with Kermit, but thank you so much for watching the episode. I will see you guys in the next one. Right now I have to deal with him. Bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching this latest episode of Big Brain Time. Super fun to make, as always. Click down here to subscribe, click here to watch any of our previous videos, and I will see you in the next episode.